Hey guys, it's Stacy, and today I have another Booktube SFF Babbles for you guys, and that is SFF books that surprised you. Before we start, I'm sorry, we had to shift locations and the lighting is weird. The light went out in my room, which is sucky, so we're having to face a different way. I have like a ton of lamps going, and for this Babble I thought I would do 3 books that surprised me in a good way and 3 books that surprised me in a bad way. So we're going to start off with the bad, and if I offend you with not liking any of these books, I'm sorry. It is what it is. So the first one is one that recently I have been very vocal about not liking. I even did a rant review on it, and that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I didn't have like super high expectations because I didn't know a lot about it, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was for me. Like, the last good chunk of it, I skimmed hardcore, and then eventually I just skipped to the last chapter and read it. I gave this 2 stars. 2 stars. I wanted to like it because it had a really cool premise. I will leave my review down below if I remember. It is spoiler free, but this book, it was supposed to be about like assassin nuns, and it was just confusing, and there was no world building for me, and I hated the writing, and the only good thing about this book was the main character, Nona, and it's just, this book was hard to get through. And the next one that surprised me in a bad way is one that I'm also pretty vocal about not liking, and that is The Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. And this surprised me in a bad way because I really enjoyed the first book, The Last Wish, and so I was really excited to go into this one and be all for it, but then I read it and it was just like, no. And that really bummed me out. The whole like vibe of the book felt different for me. Gerald felt like a completely different character. I did not like him in this book at all. He was so wishy-washy and whiny like a teenage boy, and don't get me started on Yennefer. I do not like Yennefer at all. A lot of people love her and I'm just like, why? She's very like not like other girls type thing, even though she's a grown-ass woman. But I didn't like it. I am going to be reading the 3rd book in this series soon, so I'm hoping it'll redeem this series for me because I heavily disliked this book. And the last one that surprised me in a bad way is one that a lot of people will probably be like upset about, and that is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I didn't hate this one like I hated the other 2, but it was such like a letdown. Like everybody's like, this is the YA Game of Thrones, it's so good and so intense and complex, and it's a very average fantasy world, and like I know a lot of people are afraid to read it because they think it's going to be like some like super high fantasy, and it is high fantasy, but it's really easy to read, and I just didn't think it was that good. And it is kind of like Game of Thrones because she does kill off a lot of characters, but I think she only kills them off for like the tragedy factor. Like, I've read up to the 2nd book. I own the whole series, so I am going to continue reading it. I gave this like a 3.5 stars, 3 stars. The 2nd book didn't get better for me. It was just, this is very meh books. Like, I don't think they're that good. The characters are kind of annoying. There's one character, Lucia, I think her name is. I hate her with a burning passion. I don't mind the rest of the characters, but Lucia gets on my nerves, and I don't know why so many people are like in love with her, but like maybe it's because if I had read this when I hadn't read that much high fantasy, but I've read more high fantasy now, and I've read better high fantasy than this with better world building and something that's more complex. So this isn't my favorite fantasy series, but I will be continuing on. Like I said, I have through book 4, and then I have a book of Spirits and Thieves. I'm hoping maybe a book of Spirits and Thieves will be better than this series. I don't know, but we shall see. I didn't really care for these. So moving on to the books that surprised me in a good way, and this one that I'm going to show you guys next is a very popular one, especially right now because the 3rd book just came out, and that is Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love this book. To start off, this is my favorite book in the series because Katie and Ezra are my life. They give me life. Like, one of my all-time favorite OTPs is Katie and Ezra. But I am not a huge sci-fi person. I have a really hard time reading sci-fi a lot of the times, even though I don't know why, but it just like confuses me. But this one, oh my god, it was everything to me. Illuminate was so action-packed, and so there's just like so much in this first book. I do enjoy the other two books, but not nearly as much as I love Illuminate. But the series is a very, very good series, and I would highly recommend it. And of course, it has the format, which everybody knows about. But I love Illuminate, and it surprised me because I was like, I mean, I was hyped for it, and I was hoping I would love it, but sci-fi isn't my thing. But I love this one really, really a lot. Like I said, Katie and Ezra, my babies. And this next one is a sequel, and it surprised me because I didn't think I was going to love it more than the first one, and that is Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. I love this Savage song, but I love Our Dark Duet. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. This is an amazing sequel, an amazing conclusion. Like, Victoria Schwab ripped my heart out and stomped on it, but then like sort of kind of put it back together and shoved it back in my chest. Like, I fucking love this. Like, I love this Sabbath song. I get 4.5 stars, but this was next level shit, and I was here for it. I am here for all of Victoria Schwab's books, but particularly these. Like, I don't know if another Victoria Schwab book is going to top these books for me. Like, I love her, and I love all the books that I've read so far by her, but this series is so good. Like, so good. Like, read it if you haven't. And this next book, and the last book I have to show you, is a concluding novel in a trilogy, and I just recently finished it, and it surprised me a lot how much I loved it, and that is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, third and final book in the Grisha trilogy. I recently read this so I can read Six of Crows for the readathon that I'm doing next week, but I liked Shadow and Bone. I thought it was really good. It was like a solid 4 stars. Siege and Storm was like meh, 3 stars. I don't really remember it. And then I was kind of hesitant to go in this one for a while because I was like, I don't really remember what happened in Siege and Storm. But I started reading this one and it would just clicked for me. This gets a lot of crap for being like a not good conclusion, but I think it's a great conclusion. The OTP in this, a lot of people don't like, but I am trash for the OTP that sailed in this story. Like, Alina ended up with who I wanted her to end up with, and we all knew she was going to end up with him. There was no other option, even though we all liked the other character. I mean, he was alright, but like, he was no this. I love it so much. I love this conclusion. Like, the more I think about it, the more I want to bump up my rating because I loved it that much. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys in another one. Bye!